Alrighty, let me share my screen. All right. So, all right. In this video, we're going to get into pulmonary blood flow. Uh, Kyle Ortega, video number 2. We'll start with the distribution of pulmonary blood flow, excuse me. Due to gravity and differences in regional ventilation, the base of the lungs receives more blood flow than the apex, basically known as the gravity-dependent gradient, which the lower lung zones are going to receive a higher percentage of pulmonary um, blood flow compared to the upper zones. And just basically just helps optimize gas exchange, more efficient oxygenation as well. The relationship between the pulmonary blood flow and uh, PVR, which is the pulmonary vascular resistance. Here's the formula. It's basically the difference between the mean pulmonary artery pressure and the pulmonary capillary wedge pressure divided by the cardiac output. But then you're going to multiply by 80 to convert to dynes. And then here's the normal values, about 110 to 250. And basically with your uh, vascular resistance, areas with higher ventilation tend to have a lower resistance. So basically increased blood flow and then in reduced blood flow areas, it's going to be lower ventilation with higher resistance. Now we're talking about Poselli's law. Uh, box out of the way. So basically, here's a formula written on the side. You got V equals PR to the fourth power times pi divided by 8 ln. The V is flow in the top one. Down here, it's uh, the formula is for pressure. So obviously the P is pressure, R is radius to the fourth power, 8 and pi are constants. The L is for length. And then the N is for the viscosity of the gas or fluid. And then down here, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just written for pressure. All right, so Pacelli's law, how it has to relate to the respiratory system. The lower pressure is going to decrease in response to decrease tube radius. The flow pressure is going to increase in response to decreased tube length and fluid viscosity. So basically, in the bronchial airways, the changes in the radius of airways have a significant impact on airflow, which implicate conditions like asthma and COPD. And then also these changes affect the airway resistance and airflow dynamics. All right, here's my lung drawing. Um, I shaded it a very light color red. I know it doesn't look like it on PowerPoint, but I'll have the picture to prove it. So basically from the top down, you got zone 1, uh, then zone 2, zone 3. As you go down, it's going to be more gravity dependent, increased blood flow, as you can see by the illustrations over here on the side. So zone 1 is obviously the least gravity dependent. Zone 2 is a little more, and then zone 3 is the most gravity dependent, and pretty much where blood flow is pretty much constant. Talking about the different pressures, zone 1, the alveolar pressure is greatest, greater than the arterial, and then followed by the venous. And zone 2 is a little different. The arterial pressure is greater than the alveolar pressure and the venous pressure. And then in zone 3, the arterial pressure is greater than the venous pressure and the our alveoli pressure. So it's a big difference from zone 1. Like I said, blood flow is just increasing as you go down to more gravity dependent areas. And now we're going to talk about cardiac output, which is heart rate times stroke volume. And then the components of stroke volume, you got ventricular preload, which refers to the degree that the myocardial fiber is stretched prior to contraction. The afterload, which is the force against which the ventricles have to work to pump blood. And myocardial contractility is the force in which the heart muscles contract during each heart. So to sum up pulmonary Blood flow. Distribution of blood flow is determined by factors influencing cardiac output. Lung zones. The cardiac output relies on stroke volume, heart rate, preload, afterload of contractility. Efficient circulation balances these factors for optimal blood pump. And then back to those lung zones. Zone 1, poorly ventilated, poorly perfused. Zone 2 is poorly ventilated, well perfused. And zone 3 is well ventilated, well perfused with the constant blood flow um, from the effects of gravity. And then basically balancing ventilation and perfusion, crucial for effective gas exchange. And that's the end of this video.